Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a build guide for the Arcane Vanguard's new subclass, the Gravenknight. This is a mod made by Saethos, and I'm super excited for this one because I love the kind of Death Knight type builds, and this is a perfect one for that. So the Gravenknight, you study the foul necrotic magic that is used to create harm and sustain yourself, becoming the master of life and death in Baldur's Gate 3. So with this, we get subclass features the Graven Arts. Once per turn, when you use a spell to deal acid, poison, or necrotic damage, or cast any necromancy spell, you gain 1 stack of Graven Arts. This status gives varying effects at each stack remaining, adding new features as you have more stacks. Some actions may require the status and consume stacks, which we'll get to. So here's some of the Graven Arts. You got Life Leech. Your next attack will heal you for the damage done plus half your Arcane Vanguard level using 2 stacks of Graven Arts. There's a Corrosive Blood. When you take damage from a creature within melee range, you deal 3 acid damage, and your weapon attacks have a chance to inflict corrosive wounds, but attacks against you have advantage. This requires and consumes 1 stack of Graven Arts. And the Graven Arts, so these fuel your abilities, and you can only activate 1 per turn. We also get a unique cantrip, the Grave Bolt, which shoots 1 shot of vile energy, dealing acid, poison, or necrotic damage and other effects depending on your damage type. You also get Bone Chill and Larlock's Minor Drain. There's also the Acid Stream, summon a stream of acid that corrodes enemies for 2 to 8 acid damage over 2 turns, and Arms of Hadar. We also get to choose our cantrip, so I'm just going to go with Poison Spray, Acid Splash, and Toll the Dead, as these will all stack up our Grave Arts. And also for spells, I think this is a good choice to take Tasha's Caustic Brew. This has Mistress Spells compatibility, so definitely use that. And also go with Command, because this is just a very effective spell. For the fighting style, I think Blade Dancer works well, but also you can go with Read the Enemy to use Intelligence modifier instead of your Dexterity. But Blade Dancer makes it so that you can attack and get a free bonus action attack, and when you attack this way, your offhand attack will deal an additional 1 to 4 slashing and give you the Blade Dance ready status. So you do need 2 weapons for this to work. You can also just go with the Read the Enemy for a higher armor class. And then for the spells that we're going to be taking, I guess this is the ones I covered previously, but we're going Arms of Hadar and Acid Stream. And for our ability scores, I think it's best to go build around our Dexterity, Constitution, and Intelligence. So a stat spread like this works very well, giving us still some Wisdom saves. So something like that is very solid. I'll also be covering gear as well as going over a combat guide to show you how to make the most out of this. And yeah, it's really fun. I love the Gravenknight. Saethos really knocked it out of the park on this mod. As for the class features, we get the Vanguard stratagem using Intelligence modifier for weapon attack and damage rolls. And then we get to choose ourselves another spell. So Inflict Wounds could make a lot of sense because it's a necrotic damage spell. This is a melee range one. We may want to just attack with our melee weapon, but this is still pretty good. I'm also a big fan of Thunderwave for the pushback, but you can go with what I got there. And then we're going to go for our spell here. Hex can be really nice. This does require concentration, and it deals 1 to 6 necrotic damage per attack. Eldritch Blast obviously would be like the best thing to make advantage of that. Grease can also be really good for just crowd control, and Ray of Sickness for the poison damage and potentially poison the target. We're also going to choose a Vanguard talent here, so I think the best choice. Focus Shatter is actually pretty good, so if you're concentrating on a spell and land a weapon attack, you can risk breaking your own concentration to deal additional damage. Liberating Spellcasting will give you a free cast as well, which can be pretty effective. And Force of Arcane is pretty interesting, but I think that going with this is nice because we can concentrate and then break it and get additional force damage, which is actually really good. Just because we are kind of a hybrid of melee attacking with the setup that I got here that I'll show off, but also we do spell casting. So we get the Constructed Argument. You can get a bonus to your persuasion checks equal to your intelligence modifier. We get to choose a level 2 spell for extra survivability. Mirror Image is a really nice choice. Also, you could go with Frost Fingers or Phenolic Snowball Storm. These are 2 other really effective spells at an early level that we can go with. And for the increased leveled spells, I think that Darkness, Wither and Bloom can be okay. Milf's Acid Arrow is also nice for the acid damage, but I think Darkness works very well here, so we're going to go with that. And once we get ourselves a level 4, we get to choose our cantrip here. And I think it's a good choice to go with like a Ray of Frost for reducing movement speed or Lightning Lure. And for our next leveled spell, I think again, Mirror Image is really effective for creating increased armor class by 9, so better survivability. And we'll take Wither and Bloom because it just makes sense here. And for our feat, we're going to go with the dual wielder feat so that we can wield 2 weapons, which is actually pretty crazy, as you'll see. At level 5, we get ourselves the War Magic. After you cast a cantrip, you can make a weapon action as a bonus action. And then we also get ourselves level 3 spells. And it's hard not to go with Tidal Wave because this creates water. So if you have any lightning or cold casters on your team, this will double their damage. Just for overall effectiveness, that's going to be your best choice. Haste and Counterspell are two other really effective spells that we can go with. But Death, Cold kind of go together a little bit. We also get ourselves Hunger of Hadar, so that's the obvious pick here just because it's so effective. And then once we make our way to level 6, we get ourselves another choice in spell here. So again, cold spells are going to be effective, but Counterspell is just hard to pass up, as well as Haste. And then for our next level spell here, Vampiric Touch for the healing can be really nice, or Life Transference can be also effective. And we get to choose another Vanguard talent. So casting a spell empowers you in different ways. Student of War can be actually pretty effective, so we can go with that, or you can go with like the Vanguard Recovery to give yourself 2 first level spell slots, which is pretty nice actually. Once we make our way to level 7, we get the Vanguard Technique. After a Vanguard casts a spell or cantrip, they can make a weapon attack as a bonus action, further stacking up our damage. And then we get to choose from this spell list again. So we got ourselves some more powerful spells with Dimension Door, Greater Invisibility, which can be pretty effective for stealthing. Wall of Fire is also really nice to take, or even Vitriolic Sphere, which does acid damage, which is going to be really nice on this build. We also get to take some increased leveled spells here with like Shadow of Moil if you got Mistress Spells, Everid's Black Tentacles, a nice one, and even Blight, which is 8d8 necrotic damage, and plants will take maximum damage. This can be really effective for just outputting a lot of damage. It's a strong spell. Level 8, we get ourselves another feat and another spell here, and we can go with like Wall of Fire for just the crowd control that it brings, Shadow of Moil, or Everid's Black Tentacles, although this doesn't deal necrotic or any poison damage, so this one can be really nice. It heavily obscures the targets. And we're going to take up our intelligence to 18 here. This is just going to be the best choice for increasing our overall survivability and damage. We also get ourselves subclass features Graven Harvest. So when you land a killing blow on an enemy, gain 1 stack of Graven Arts. This can only trigger once per round. We also get the Visage of the Undeath. So enter a state of Undeath. You're unable to regain health points. Abilities that affect the undead now affect you. And you're unable to gain Graven Arts as a result of casting spells. During this time, you have advantage on attack rolls, immunity to necrotic, resistance to radiant, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, immunity to poisons, and you're granted dark vision. Requires and consumes 1 stack of Graven Arts. We also get ourselves Baptized in Blood. So sacrifice some health to cover the ground with blood, dealing 1 to 6 damage to yourself while the status is active. If you're standing in blood, you corrupt your surroundings, gaining the Baptized in Blood. And Equal in Death. Mark a target whenever you take damage, that creature will take damage equal to half the damage dealt to you. 4 stacks of Graven Arts. That's a very interesting one, Equal in Death. And we had to pick another spell here. So we get level 5 spells, which things like Wall of Stone are interesting, but I think Hold Monster really works the best with this, especially in later acts of the game. And we get some really fun ones. We get Innervation, we get ourselves Cloud Kill, and we get Macabre Explosion, which can explode a corpse, which is really good because it deals necrotic damage in a huge area. So we're going to go with that because it's just very strong here. You can also swap out a spell and take another one if you'd like. We can take another cantrip here, and may as well go with like Minor Illusion just for the utility. And we get to take another level 5 spell. Telekinesis can be kind of fun, but we can also go back to some previous levels and take like Armor of Agathis, Mage Armor, any of these spells, or even like the Thunder Wave, just because that pushback can be actually really effective. And Innervation here does 68 necrotic damage. Link yourself with a target with Tendrils of Darkness. Deal an additional 6 to 48 necrotic damage each turn by activating it, and regain health points equal to half the damage dealt, which is actually really good for the extra health that you can regain. And Cloud Kill is also really nice because you can reposition this every turn. And just, you know, it's good if you have like a Necromancer. Dread Overlord Warlock works well. We're going to go with the Innervation here. And we get to choose another Vanguard talent. Vanguard Recovery for the first 2 level spell slots is actually kind of nice just to have extra utility there. At level 11, we get our class feature Tactical Strikes. Once per turn, when you deal an attack with a weapon, you deal additional 1d4 of damage. And we get ourselves level 6 spells with things like Wall of Ice being one of the best spells to choose. It's really strong, so we're going to go with that. Also, Globe of Invulnerability is another good choice, so we can take that next level. And Circle of Death, enough said. This is a really great spell. Harm's nice because it can reduce a maximum health points on a target, but it's actually kind of tricky because when you use this spell, if they're already harmed, it's actually not going to deal extra damage on top of what's already like removed. So things like Circle of Death can be a very effective spell here. And once we get to level 12, this is when we can take our Globe of Invulnerability just to make things a lot easier. But Fissure is also pretty nice. And we're going to go with something like, I guess Harm is a good spell to go with, or even Cloud Kill. We already got a lot of level 6 spells. And we're going to improve our intelligence all the way to 20 here. So that's the build, but the gear is what makes this very strong. So for weapons, I went with the Infernal Rapier here. and we can dual wield weapons. So I actually think that it's best to, I guess we'll take this and we'll put something else in our main hand and then leave that in the offhand. So for the main hand weapon, I think the best choice is actually something that's going to be quite interesting only on evil playthroughs, which kind of makes sense for this build. You don't have to use this weapon, you can use other ones, but Shard Spear of the Evening can create darkness and give us the ability to see in dark vision at all times. So whenever we do this, we can just hide out in this, and it just fits the death theme very well. And then the offhand, we can go with the Infernal Rapier, which is kind of a funny combination, but trust me, it works very well. We also get medium armor proficiency, so that's one of the nice things about this subclass mod is the medium armor. So we can go with like the armor of agility here, which gives us 24 armor class, which is not too bad in all things considered. Like, that's still pretty powerful. And we'll just dye it to make it look thematic. And with this, I also went with the Mask of Soul Perception, but you can also swap out for the Hood of the Weave here. Cloak of Protection, Evasive Shoes, Helldust Gloves for increased spell attacks and fire damage. I also want the Caustic Band. This is an interesting one because it'll add acid damage to our attacks, which will stack up our abilities, which is awesome. Also the Ring of Protection and Amulet of Greater Health. And I went with the Hellrider Longbow because this will also give us +3 to initiative. So all in all, this is pretty powerful. So I'll show off what this ends up looking like in combat here. So we summon into our Cambion here, and we can start off by just crowd control with something like Hunger of Hadar. That's going to be really nice because it does cold and acid damage. We also got Tidal Wave and Wall of Ice, and you can go with like a nice Circle of Death for a big explosion as well. I'm just going to drop down the Hunger of Hadar just because this is super effective for just survivability's sake. So we'll put that somewheres. I guess we can move it even back further here, but I think somewhere around here works well so that everyone's trapped in it. And there's the Hunger of Hadar. Everyone's upset, and we'll just get into it. So that creates darkness. They become a little bit more challenging to deal damage to us. And yeah, we also with this we didn't roll a very high initiative because we don't have many boosts to it, but this is an interesting combination of weapons that I'll show off and how to get the most of it, as everyone that goes into the Hunger of Hadar is going to be taking extra damage. So what we can do is we can just drop a Circle of Death here. So you want to target someone that's going to be far enough away from everyone that you don't get hit yourself. So going back a little bit and then dropping it on them. It's going to deal the most damage to the most targets. Boom. That took out a lot of them. Circle of Death is really strong, and that really upset a bunch of guards that just magically appeared right there for some reason. That's all right. We also got another spell to follow it up with, so we can do our free cast if you got the Illithid ability, and go with another Circle of Death because this is just very effective. So we'll roll with that. Oh, I walked into it and got counterspelled. Of course I did. That's unfortunate. But we also get our free attack. So what we can do is we can go with the Edge of Darkness because this counts as the extra attack. The Edge of Darkness is nice because then we can create our own pocket of damage. We can break our concentration and use the Focus Shatter if we wanted to. But at the same time, what this is going to do is remove our concentration, so I won't use that. And for some reason, the Edge of Darkness did not trigger the Darkness Cloud properly, I don't think. Oh, it looks like it might be in the darkness. It might just not be showing very well. And yeah, I guess we can follow it up with our... I'll get all those damage with something else, but I'll try to take out... I guess that's too far away. We'll just go with that target there. Boom. Fire damage. And we'll try to survive against them. So we can drop our Circle of Death again. If we got a lot of enemies in a circular area, this is actually really good to drop. So we're going to get hit if we stand there. So we're going to actually run back here and then drop our Circle of Death, which actually brought another target into the fight. This is nice because we're able to hit all the targets around there and all the ones that are in our Hunger of Hadar. Rest in peace to our poor summon there, but we're just going to blast with that. Boom. And we got the Necromancy of War, which will give us additional damage on our attacks, and we broke concentrations on some of them, so that's perfect. And with that, we also, I guess, have some that are behind us here, so we can just go ahead with another type of spell. We can even use the Grave Bolt here. Acid, poison, or necrotic damage, which ignores resistances, which is awesome. And it can imply Feebling Strike, and we can do this to 3 different targets, which is pretty cool. So similar to Eldritch Blast. Boom. Cool animations on those as well. And we also got ourselves like Vitriolic Sphere. I actually gave myself a couple extra actions because there was a weird issue that I was having. So yeah, I went with that there. But we have our Graven Arts here that we can apply. So we can give ourselves additional acid damage on that one. Visage of Death, you're unable to gain hit points, but we can also do a bunch of different things and get immunity, as I mentioned previously. Mutual Decay can reduce our health. I guess the best choice right now would probably be the Baptized in Blood, or going with the Life Leech. The next attack will heal us. I'm gonna go with the Baptized in Blood here though, and we'll set up here. It does hurt your character, but it stacks this here, and I also have the Unstable Blood, so I gotta watch out for fire damage. But then we can go with something like the Macabre Explosion here, which will explode a corpse and deal damage, so that can be really nice. If you have corpse nearby, you can explode those. It takes out a bunch of enemies. Our poor Cambion is just taking a beating there. But the Macabre Explosion is very effective because of the range that you get with it. And there's likely going to be corpses if you're in a fight, so you can use that even on some corpses you may not think would likely be able to get hit by that. You can use it on Steel Watchers, explode them, deals a little extra force damage. And then if you got your Mind Blast too, Mind Blast can be really effective as well, especially if you have the Resonant Stone, because that can take out pretty much anyone with that. And then you can follow it up with your extra attack, the Edge of Darkness here, making the little darkness and Unstable Blood. We have our blood pool there and a blood pool here, so that actually works out perfectly. I'll just end my turn there and let the Cambion do his Raise of Fire at the next target here. Not a great hit chance, but that's okay. And we'll see how they respond. So I guess we can stop them from healing with our counterspell. I probably should have saved that for a command, because I feel a command coming. But yeah, you're coming with me. Since we're in like a bit of darkness, they have a hard time dealing with us. So it's continually spawning more flaming fist guards to attack us. So this is pretty wild. I don't know what they did to, or I don't know what we did to deserve this, but we've triggered all of them. So yeah, that happened. I guess I'll go deal with the ones over here, and all the crowd control spells that we have are very nice to drop, but sometimes we just want to go with like a big damage spell. So I think actually the best choice here would probably be going with like a Wall of Fire, maybe. This will break our concentration there, but there's only one target in that. Trying to think about how I can hit the most targets possible. I guess I can move over here a little bit more. Wall of Fire is really our only large area spell that we got, so we can go with that. I'll move a little bit closer to. That should be good here, and then we'll go Wall of Fire all the way to there. Perfect, so that'll hit all of them. I don't know why it's not letting me do that. Drop it right there. There we go. Perfect. Wall of Fire. And that deals a good amount of damage to them. I missed one of them somehow, but that's fine. And then we can just go with our poison or other damaging spells, or even command. We can go with like a command approach or a command drop with this. Oh, I meant to upcast that. Oops. I guess since I have multiple actions, we can go with the upcasted version as well. So I'll command all of them to move forwards as well. We'll pretend that was all one action. I accidentally used halt. My bad. I'll just end my turn there. That was not a great turn. But now that they're out in the open, they're going to come towards us here, and that's fine. We'll just let the Cambion do its tanking and let them come towards us. They're going to heal themselves up. That's fine. I'll just skip their turns. Oh, and the fire took one of them out. That was perfect. So that's a nice thing about Wall of Fire, is it's kind of a crowd control-y spell that you can use just to stop targets. And the nice thing about using the Infernal Rapier is you get the ability to tank with our little Cambion there. So I guess we'll go with this. Yeah, Psionic Blast. And he moved around the fire, so he took a little bit extra damage. They're all just chilling out right there, so I think this is a good opportunity for me to move back this way while they're getting dealt with, and then take out some of the targets here. So what's cool is if you can get in position, you can actually drop a Thunder Wave, which is very effective. But we can also go with something like a Tidal Wave into a cold damage spell, or drop one of our other, like Vireolic Sphere, which can probably hit multiple targets. I'll see where I can line this up, and I don't know if I can get all three of them. I'm gonna have to move a little closer to see that. Some of these spells are really effective for hitting multiple targets, so we want to take advantage of that if at all possible. I don't think I can actually hit all three. Oh yes, I can. Hit all three. Boom. Create the acid surface, and then we can also heal ourselves with like the Vampiric Touch, but that will break our concentration. So we can also just go with our extra free action here. Or we can also drop a Darkness. If we had our Edge of Darkness, that would have been perfect because we could hide out in that. We'll do our extra attack here, save our teammate, or Cambion, I guess. And we have that free offhand attack too, so that's even better. I'll just end my turn off there and let them deal with the outcome. So They're going to be in an acid surface. Ooh, we'll try to take him out. I don't think I'll be able to. Oh, that was perfect. Just enough. Just enough. So they're going to get hurt by the fire. Creating a fire elemental. Interesting choice. And running away. Wow. They don't want none of that. So, I guess we don't have to counterspell that, but I'll counterspell it. Why not? That dealt a little extra damage to them. And I'm just hoping that they'll get burned in that wall of fire there, because that'd be like the best outcome. We took out one of them. Nice. And they saved on the fire and healed. So that makes things complicated. Oh, and he just exploded too. I just went to stop the video. He exploded. Perfect. So I guess we can go with just like a ray of sickness on that target there for the poison damage. That took them out. Perfect. And then we'll run over here, and there's just this one. I guess there's two targets over here. So see if I can get a Viriolic Sphere over there and drop that right on them. Perfect. And counterspelled, of course it was. So we'll do that again. Oh no, we were out of spells, damn it. We're out of spells, crap. So since they broke out of our firewall, we can drop a another Hunger of Hadar there. That'll do a little extra damage and crowd control for us. I'll just end my turn after. Yeah, I won't even do. Oh, that took out them. I'll do a bow attack for my attack. Boom, perfect. Won't break our concentration. We'll just let that go. And our Cambion here barely holding on for dear life. Doesn't have the range to be able to hit that. And that did it. The Hunger of Hadar was the win. So yeah, it's a pretty powerful build. The Grave Knight is strong, not overpowered, but it's a cool combination of necrotic, acid, and poison damage. So let me know your thoughts. Shout out to Saethos for making this amazing mod. And I'll see you all in the next video. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching.